Clicking on the Fit tab, we now look at the Fit options. If there isn't enough room to place both the text and the arrows inside the extension line, the first thing to move outside the extension line is, and as you can see, many options. We're going to select this button. We always want to keep the text between the extension lines. Next down, text placement. When text is not in the default position, place it where? I'd like it to be placed over the dimension line, but without a leader. What that means is if you do have a leader, there's going to be an extra line pointing the text to the dimension line. And if you have a large drawing, those extra lines do make it a little bit harder to read the drawing. So when I select this option, it's going to put the text in but not the line, and it's going to leave the text close enough where I can tell what dimension line it's associated with. Now, moving over, I'm actually going to talk about fine-tuning here first. I always want to draw the dimension line between the extension lines. It's very important with architectural dimensions to do that. And then, scale for dimension features. All of the values I've placed so far have to be multiplied by the scale factor. And what is that scale factor? Looking up at my dimension style name, the value of 24 indicates to me that this will plot at ½ inch. So what I do is I highlight in here and set this to 24. If I had my way and I can make some changes, I would request that AutoCAD change the text here to read use scale factor of, and that would make it easier for us to understand what's going on. So 24 is the value here because 24 is the value up there, and that is due to the fact that it's a ½ inch scale print for the dimension style. Then we go to primary units. Under primary units, we look at linear dimensions, unit format. This is very similar to formatting units, which we had done with the drawing when we began. We're going to select architectural. The precision, we will continue to leave it at 1/32 of an inch. In other words, round off values to the nearest 32nd. Fraction format, 3 options. And what this is requesting is how do you want your fractions to appear? With a horizontal line for the fraction, a diagonal, and you can see what the diagonal does, or not stacked. My preference is not stacked, but again, you can select what you'd like. I will go with not stacked for now. Round off, do we want to round off the dimension? No, we don't, so we're going to leave that at 0. Next down is measurement scale, and again, if I could request a change for AutoCAD, it would be to indicate this simply as measuring scale, not scale factor. For your information, this value always remains 1. Remember how I had pointed out the definition points and how they measure the distance. When you place an AutoCAD dimension in your drawing, it's calculating the distance from point A and B, and then it is multiplied by this value. So when we leave it at 1, anything multiplied 1 by 1 remains the same. So make sure that this remains 1. Next, under 0 suppression, I want to suppress 0 feet, but not 0 inches. In other words, if my dimension is just a 2-inch, or rather, say, a 6-inch wall, I don't want my dimension to read 0 feet 6 inches. I simply want it to read 6 inches. But when a wall is 12 feet 0 inches, I always want to see the trailing 0 inches. And that's why I am not suppressing it. Going over to unit format, decimal degree is fine. Again, precision can remain similar to what we had done before. Under 0 suppression, I'm just going to leave leading and trailing, both of them, off. And that will do it for the dimension style. So we've done primary units, we've done fit, text, and lines and arrows. I'm going to select OK. And when I do that, it's showing a preview of my dimension style. You have to make sure to check and see which is the current dimension style. Right now it's standard, but I want to highlight the name VTC24, and now I'd like to set it current. And now it reads current dim style VTC24. So that when I begin to place my dimensions now, it will place dimensions based on this dimension style. I'm going to select close. As you can see, there's no button here that indicates save. The changes are always saved when you make the modifications and you select OK, and then when you select close. So let's begin to place dimensions on our drawing.